Hello and welcome from my living room in Bristol, UK. My name is Jon. You all know me as the CEO of Tamadoge. I'm very excited to be the main representative of our very passionate community. I spent some time on Twitter and Telegram reading all of your comments, and I must say I'm really enthused by how engaged and passionate the community is about this project. I'm going to do this video in one take. That's what I'm going to try to do. So it's going to be quite natural. You might hear me umming and ahhing about a bit. Don't worry about that. Maybe fumbling over my words a little bit. I'd rather just talk naturally to all of you and not over edited and all that kind of stuff. So what you want to know about me, probably my experience. I have about 15 years of big, tech experience. I started working at eBay in 2008. I then moved across to the sister company PayPal. After PayPal, I joined a company called Funding Circle. If you're in the UK, you might know them. They listed on the stock exchange now, so that was a great success. I joined them in their startup phase, so I learned a lot about building a company from really small to really big. After that, I worked in cryptocurrency on an ICO project and also on at some cryptocurrency exchanges. After that, I followed my key interest of mine, which is mobile games, which included advising some hyper-casual gaming companies, as well as joining a company called Coda, which was a hyper-casual publishing platform. After Coda, I spent a few years at a company called Outright Games, which is the biggest children's games publishing company in the world. So I got to work with some really big global brands there, and that was a great experience on working on projects at scale. But I have this thing about where cryptocurrency or Web3 intersects with gaming, and I think there's a huge opportunity there. My personal belief is that the hyper-optimized model of free-to-play gaming is seeing some really big headwinds now that might mean that it's not the dominant financial model in the future or monetization model in the future for gaming. I think a lot more interesting stuff like monetizing through NFTs and through play to earn and through raising funds to build your games. All of these really interesting things, and also free to earn. I'm a big fan of, and raising funds in all of these models that cryptocurrency or Web3 presents to game producers has a very big potential to be the future. I'm here to build that. I'm here to try and be one of the companies that brings Web3 gaming to the masses. Currently I think Web3 gaming hasn't learned the lessons of free-to-play. Free-to-play spent, whatever it was, 10, 15 years, optimizing for the most, the best gaming experience, the best potential monetization, and all of that. And so there's a lot of good lessons that can be learned from all of those years of optimization, which I think a lot of Web3 gaming has not learned. It's quite simple. If you charge somebody, $300 or $3,000 to buy an NFT before they even start playing the game, or connect your wallet or anything like that, it's just not going to work on a mass scale. And I think that's why when people say, well, Web3 gaming hasn't worked, show me an example of Web3 gaming that has worked other than Axie. I think that's a big part of that situation. I think Web3 gaming hasn't focused on what we call hook theory, which is make it really easy for people to start, but hard for people to master the game. And I think that's something we could learn a lot from here and remove all the barriers to entry in the beginning. Just let people play games, and the Web3 elements can come into it later. And there's really cool stuff you can do with Web3, and I think there are genuine use cases that we can bring into gaming. So I'm very excited to test those out and figure out what works and what doesn't work. So what's next? I think you probably want to hear about the roadmap. As you know, we've published a public roadmap, which is live on the internet. It's a live link. We edit it in our sort of planning tool, which is called Notion. But you now have a view of all of the key things that are coming up that you'll be interested in. Obviously, really tiny changes like changing a link on a website. We're not going to put on that public roadmap. But the key big projects that you're looking for are on there, and it's very exciting to have a public roadmap. And I'm excited to keep delivering. My job is to deliver. I'm a gaming / product focused CEO, and I want to build great stuff and I want to deliver it for the community. The equation is quite simple. We build good stuff, we keep delivering, we show that people enjoy what we build, we show that there's lots of users playing the game, we show that the games are monetizing. It's all going to do very well for the coin. That's the theory, at least. So roadmap is there. I think the most important things coming down the track is we'll keep launching our first 5 games. They're a really good start. They, nice and simple, but they're all mechanics that we know, and they're engaging, and will and do quite well. We can already see that without pushing the games too much, that a lot of people are using them. People are very engaged. I can't remember what the stat was the other day, but I think in the first week the average play per game was 15 times. So each player played the game 15 times. There were some that have played the game hundreds of times, which is incredible, right? So the motivation of P2E is strong, and the gameplay is strong because people seem to be enjoying playing the games. So those first 5 games will come. Then what we need to focus on is, I'm not going to say this in exact order, but these are the key things we're focusing on. What we need to focus on next is converting all those games onto mobile and bringing the whole platform onto mobile app as well. So every time we launch a new game, we just kind of slot it into the mobile game. I think that's the platform design we're thinking about for mobile. Mobile will make a big difference from both sides. I think if you're a player, people much prefer playing on mobile. Obviously, you can take it wherever you go. You don't have to play it on your laptop. And from a growth and usage point of view, you just can't beat mobile for scale. I've been scaling up mobile games for years now, and you just can't beat those channels. So, so from a coin value point of view, from a community size point of view, mobile is a very, very big move for us. And I think that's when we'll see a big shift in user numbers. So that's coming. We're already starting to work on 3D. So 3D is super interesting, right? Because a bunch of you have NFTs that have been designed, in 2D and very basic 8-bit, as is the style of Tamadoge, and it's a really great style. But what happens when we want to create 3D games? You can't have an 8-bit 2D character walking around in 3D games. So we're working on quite a big project there to convert all of your NFTs to 3D. And that obviously has to be automated because we can't redesign tens of thousands of NFTs. So it's really, really interesting tech challenge we have there, but a super fun one. Once we have that, you'll have the option to have 3D looking NFTs or avatars when you play your 3D based games. And the kind of 3D based games we're thinking about is obviously there's the AR game where you can play with your Tamadoge in real life, and there'll be little interactions we can build into that. There's the Tamaverse, where you will be able to interact with your Doge or via your Doge with other people on the platform. And then there's a bunch of other 3D games that we want to think about building, just to give us the range and the variety of game types. So we're super excited about that. There's Pet Store coming as well, where you'll be able to buy and sell your own NFTs within the Pet Store. And we'll also start adding accessories and things that you can put onto your Tamadoge to make it either look better or give it slightly different attributes, which makes you a little bit more competitive in the game. So Pet Store should be super interesting. So yeah, lots to come there. There's a long, as you can see if you go look at it, there's a long roadmap of games and features that are coming, and I think it'll just make the community stronger and stronger and stronger. We also have quite a few social stuff coming in, social features, so you'll be able to chat to each other, and hopefully in the future you'll be able to challenge each other to a game. We haven't quite scoped that out, so don't read too much into this. In the future we'll be able to challenge each other to play a game, maybe place a little bet on it. We'll see what happens. These are the kind of things we're thinking about. A lot more interactivity in the community. And obviously, if you've seen the leaderboards right now, you'll know that the leaderboards just have, a part of your wallet hash, which is not a great experience, but we wanted to get the games out first and get everybody playing them and see what they think of the games. Now that we know people like the games, what will come soon is you'll start to see there'll be an email sign up. So, you sign up with the email, you give us your details, like, your name or your whatever you want your gaming name to be. And you'll start to see names next to the leaderboard. So you start to get to know your fellow community members, which I think is a much better way of interacting. There'll also eventually be an opportunity for a avatar, so the avatar of whichever NFT you've got, so you can show everyone how awesome your NFT is. We think that'll work really well, and that'll really bring a lot more community stuff into it. So I think that's enough intro from me. This is a Q&A after all. I'm going to now reach for my phone and just read through the questions. I haven't actually read these yet, so this could be pretty interesting. They've all been sent to me by our community team. Let's see what we've got. So from Twitter, this is from Dersh. What can you tell us about the roadmap going forward? How do you plan onboarding users and gaining more adoption for your project? So I've gone into that a little bit. We have this really solid, plan for this year, the year after, and we'll keep adding to that plan about what we're building on the roadmap. The roadmap focuses on building great games and interactive and social games that people can play against each other, and which shows utility for the coin, which gives us a much better chance of getting onto some of the bigger exchanges, which I know everybody wants and will be a very big boost for the price. So I won't talk too much more about the roadmap, but in terms of how are we going to onboard users, I think we are focusing on making Web3 gaming available to everyone, bringing it to the masses essentially. So I've perhaps one of my strengths as a product-led CEO has always been creating products for the masses, right? And a huge part of how you bring that on is making onboarding as easy as possible. So one thing we're looking at doing is launching a sort of Tamadoge, which is a free baby Tamadoge with very low attributes, but it means that when someone who's never been involved in Web3 gaming before, just a normal gamer can come and join Tamadoge, they sign up with the email, we just give them a free NFT, and we call this free to own. It's a concept that somebody, Gabe Layden, talks a lot about. It removes that very big initial friction point for your average non-crypto user to join the game. So we'll look at smoothing that onboarding process. Then we create games, as you've seen, we create games that are quite user-friendly, not super complicated. A lot of crypto games are very complicated, which is fine. That's great for your hardcore gamers, but we want as many people as possible to join this project. And then when they start playing, they start learning about how wallets work and how they need to connect to cash out their earnings and all that stuff. And suddenly the game is a vehicle for onboarding, thousands and thousands of users. That's the theory, at least. That's what we're going to try and do. So I hope that answers your project, Adersh. What else have we got here? So Abu Gaith from Discord. What do you think of Tama over the next 10 years? 10 years is a long time. But what I can say about Tama and the reason I'm on this project is we have it was a very big coin race, so we have good funding in US dollars. It's a very good project, and we have a long-term vision. Like I've seen too many ICOs where the vision is not as solid as it should be. As you can probably tell by now after listening to me for a few minutes, that I'm a product-focused CEO, so I'm here to deliver products, and that's what we're doing. As long as you keep delivering, as long as you keep optimizing, as long as you keep listening to the community, as long as you keep looking for more opportunities, Tamadoge is going to have a long life. And we're trying to create a platform here that is, the best Web3 gaming platform, which, you can't do in 2 years, you can't do in 5 years. So the view here is long. And if we're here in 10 years, the price has to be much higher than it is now. That's just the way it works. So hopefully that's what happens. Lucas from Discord. What is the biggest challenge in getting blockchain-based games on the App Store? It's tricky. There are definitely ways around it. Your biggest challenge is, stuff like connecting wallets and all that is quite tricky because this is all changing as we speak. So I'll say this now, but it might not be true in a few weeks' time. Is that Apple is very reluctant to let you go outside of the app, link to somewhere else to create a payment or link a wallet and stuff like that. So that's quite difficult. You've got to be careful what wording you use when describing your app, because if it sounds too much like the kind of app that they don't like on their store, they might remove it. So following the rules of Apple are quite tricky. I've been doing this for years, so it's mainly around that. It's not the end of the world. There's definitely ways to do it. We just got to be careful that you don't link out in a way that they don't like, and that your app doesn't contravene their rules around cryptocurrency and other types of things. So we know that quite well. You can always fall afoul of the rules, but then you just change it and try again. So we think it'll be okay. The next question from Lucas: is the 3D game expected to be released this year? Yes, we expect to release more than one 3D game this year. That's the plan. Don't hold me to that, but that's what we're going to try and do. How do you see the target audience for the game age-wise? Also from Lucas, it depends which games you're talking about. Oh, sorry, you said the games. Look, the target audience is quite broad, right? If you think of Candy Crush, the magic of Candy Crush is that I played it when it came out. What was it, like 10 years ago? When I was in my 20s. So as a younger male, I've played it. I know kids play it. I know older women play it. It's magic, right? Everybody loves Candy Crush. So we want to go for that kind of vibe. I'm not saying we're going to build Candy Crush, but we want to build games that are as accessible to as many people as possible. With the one caveat being that this shouldn't be for under 18s from a regulation point of view and a legal point of view, because of the cryptocurrency and the play to earn element. So anyone over 18 is our audience. We think it'll fall on 18 to maybe 35-year-old males will be the skew of the audience, as it always is with cryptocurrency and gaming and stuff like that. But we're very keen to expand that into as many audiences as possible. And remember, the bigger this is, the better it is for the coin. Right, KS Crypto on Discord. Can we expect a new exchange linking in the near future? Yes, we are working very hard on that. A big part of my job and that of the sort of token-focused part of the business is reaching out to all of the exchanges, creating deals with them, or at least presenting our case to them, saying, "Hey, man, you should be with us." These exchanges want to see really engaged communities, really happy communities. That's why we work so hard on our communities, also because we love our community, and they want to see utility and differentiation. There's a lot of coins out there, so obviously the other good effect of building all these games and delivering on our roadmap and being so open and transparent is it really helps our potential when it comes to listing. When will the reward system be revealed? I'm not sure which reward system that is. Maybe I should have pre-read this. But we have the play to earn system when you build. When you play the games. We also have staking coming soon. We need a few more months to get staking up and running within the game system. So that's a really cool reward system, and many other things to follow. So watch the space. When will the Super Doge bugs be corrected? I'm not sure which bugs you're referring to, but no game is static. Like when you launch a game, you put into a thing called live ops. So what happens then is bugs will always appear because there's always different versions of phones, different versions of computers. It's hard to predict every bug, right? So when you first launch a game, it's quite buggy, but you're in live ops and your team is constantly taking feedback and testing and improving, and so the bugs will reduce over time. No software in the world is bug free. The same happens for games. I see it still even when I play FIFA 23. FIFA's been going for over 20 years now, and I still see a bug or two in the system, right? But we are constantly working on reducing the amount of bugs. Cool. Kana from Discord. How does the reward system work on the games? Which places are how much is paid for each place? So I don't have the exact numbers to hand. We are starting to publish that on the website. I know we've put it onto the forum now. Onto Telegram now. But basically, every time you buy some gaming credits, the reason we have credits is so it can be off chain, so you're not gassed every time you want to play a game, right? It adds an extra step. I wish it was a little bit smoother than that, but in terms of user experience, I think it's really great that we've done that. So every time you buy some tokens, let's say you buy, you take the base package, which is 100 credits, which is 600 Tama, right? Of those 600 Tama, 50% of those, so 300 go into the winning pool, so that's what you can win, and then 300 of that goes into marketing, dev, burn, and staking. So we're already putting into the staking pool, even though we don't have staking yet. So that's the basic split of when you buy it. Then how you win it is I can't remember the exact percentage right now because it's a spread. So if you're in first place, you'll win like 20, 30, 40%, something like that. Second place, you'll win 20%, 10%, and it rolls down like that. But what's super interesting about our play to earn system is that everybody wins, right? So the last, if I remember correctly, don't hold me to these numbers, but they are on Telegram and Twitter now, and we'll have them on the website soon. If I remember correctly, the last 18% is distributed to the rest of the winners. Anyone who enters the competition, so anyone who gets onto the leaderboard, even though we only show the top 20 of the leaderboard is as long as it needs to be. Everyone who enters wins. So obviously, the more people that enter, the bigger the win is. So keep that in mind. I hope that answers your question. What have we got next? Do you plan to make partnerships with DeFi projects? This is a pet-oriented fintech, AssureTech, which could see personalized insurance products via real pets and pet and so on. Okay, I've seen this question before on Twitter. PY29P on Discord. I think we will do some integrations with other DeFi. It's not something we're focusing on yet. We obviously, there's a lot that we can work on. Like the focus right now is talking to the exchanges, building great games, building gaming type partnerships. That's where we'll see the value. But it'll be pretty cool to have Tamadoge pet insurance, right? If you have real world pets, it's quite a great tie-in. So absolutely, we're always looking for opportunities. What those will be, I'm not entirely sure now. Will ultra personalization be possible thanks to the Tama project, the Tama payments, cosmetic elements, absolutely. That'll start to happen in the pet store, right? So when we have the pet store, you'll be able to buy, a hat or a collar or whatever for your dog. So you'll be able to personalize your Doge, and then you can make a few different versions of your Doge and decide which one you want to use for which game. It might also mean that some Doges are stronger than others in terms of all the attributes. So keep that in mind. Cool. Still asking those kind of things, right? Would it be possible to make a Tinder-like app? NFT would be used rather than photos, and once there is a match, chat opens and two dogs could interact. I'm not sure where you're going with that, but we certainly don't want to get into the dating market. It's a very well-run market. It's very well monetized, and there's very little opportunity there. But what we do have coming is Tamaverse, right? Which takes away the matching, but you all can just come to the dog park or wherever it is, and your dogs can be there, and you can all talk to each other. So that kind of interaction and matching and meeting of other community members will definitely happen in the future. We also have all of our social tools that we're bringing out. Mega Daddy GX on Discord. So if you don't know Mega Daddy, he's one of our big winners from the first week. So he's a great player. When will the level 3 Super Doge timer flag bug be fixed? That's all I care about. We'll fix it soon. I'm pretty sure we're working on that already. All right, the dog's bollocks. I'm going to say that. If you're not from the UK, you'll know that's a bit of a rude word. You won't know it's a bit of a rude word. But anyway, could you expand on leaderboard economics? We need incentives for hardcore gamers, but also want to onboard non-pro. Yeah. So basically, economics is so complicated, man. Especially when you have NFTs and you have different games and you have different games that operate in different ways and require different attributes for them to work. Balancing all of that is really tricky. The economics will change over time. There's so much we can say about that. I think that if the community really cares about economics and how we balance the economy and all of that, also there's we balance the economics of the coin, and we also have the Tamadoge coin and the credit and all that is a very, very complicated topic for someone who's running out of time. But super happy to focus in on that if people want to for a future AMA. Rel D from Discord says, welcome to Tamadoge Army. The main question is, can you tell us about you? I think I've done a lot of that already. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to know about me. I'll answer as much as I can there. What is the road going to be like with Tamadoge? I think for me, the roadmap is my road. That's what I'm going to focus on. So we've spoken quite a lot about the roadmap. Follow the public roadmap and you'll see it there. Why now become a person and not a ghost? Because I am a person. I think what you're trying to ask there is why am I being so publicly visible? We're trying to be as transparent as possible. We're trying to be open and honest, and so on. So I'm here as the face of Tamadoge. I want you to know that we are here. We are building. We have a great team.